Hello everyone, this is Mukund Vaibhav, and in this video, let us learn about dynamic memory allocation in C. So without any further ado, let's get started. By the end of this seminar, I promise you that you will be able to dynamically allocate memory in your C program using the standard library functions such as malloc, calloc, free, and realloc. Before we dive deep into dynamic memory allocation, it is essential we know how memory is managed in C programming. Every programming language deals with memory in the system. Each and every variable needs a specified amount of memory. The program by itself requires some memory to store the program and some temporary memory to store the temporary values, or we can call it as the intermediate values. Hence, it is required to manage memory with utmost care. So, memory locations assigned to one program or variable should not be used by any other program or variable. Hence, C provides two methods of allocating memory to the variables and programs. They are static memory allocation and dynamic memory allocation. Let us know about these two further. To understand the key differences of static memory allocation and dynamic memory allocation, it is recommended that we know about stack and heap. Stack in simple terms is a segment where the static memory is allocated, and heap is the segment where the programmer allocates memory during the execution of the program. As you can see from this table, memory is allocated in a contiguous block in stack, whereas it is allocated in a random order in heap. But the major issue that is produced by these both is that shortage of memory occurs in stack, whereas memory fragmentation occurs in heap. It is also important to note that in stack, the memory size is fixed, whereas in heap, resizing is possible. Now that we know about what a stack and heap is and the differences between them, let us now look at the static memory allocation versus dynamic memory allocation. The key difference is that in static memory allocation, memory is allocated when variables are declared and the allocated memory is released at the end of the program. Whereas in dynamic memory, memory is allocated at the runtime and we need to explicitly release the allocated memory in the program if it's not used. The compiler knows in advance the size of the variables in static memory allocation, whereas in dynamic memory allocation, the compiler cannot determine the size or the type of the variable before executing the program. Now, let us try to understand what exactly is dynamic memory allocation by knowing what it is used for. Dynamic memory allocation is primarily used when you encounter these two scenarios. One, when you don't know how much of amount of memory would actually be needed for the program to run. And secondly, when you want to use your memory space efficiently. For example, if you have allocated memory space for a 1D array, as let us take it as array of 20, and you end up using only 10 memory spaces, then the remaining 10 spaces would be wasted, and this wasted memory cannot be even utilized by other program variables. So as we have learned so far, when declaring a basic data type or an array, the memory is automatically managed. However, there's a process for allocating memory which will permit you to implement a program in which the array size is undecided until you run the program. This process is called dynamic memory allocation. Now, let's have a quick look at the methods used for dynamic memory allocation. The malloc function in C stands for memory allocation. It is a function which is used to allocate a block of memory dynamically. It reserves memory space of specified size and returns the null pointer pointing to the memory location. The pointer returned is usually of type void. It means that we can assign a malloc function to any pointer. The important point to be noted is that the malloc function does not initialize memory at execution time. So it may have garbage value initially. So it is better to initialize it to a null value. But if it returns a null, it means that the memory is not sufficient. Now, let's take a look at an example problem. As you can see in this program, we have initialized n, I and sum is equal to 0 and also a pointer variable. Now we ask the user to enter the number of elements that he or she requires and we save it in the variable n. The point to be noted is that by using the malloc function, we have actually allocated memory during the runtime of the program, since we don't know how much memory would actually be needed for the program to run. If you remember, while I was explaining the key differences between a static memory allocation and dynamic memory allocation, the memory for variables is automatically deallocated at compile time. But in dynamic memory allocation, you have to deallocate memory explicitly. If not done, you may encounter out of memory error. So that is where the free function comes into play. The free function is called to release or deallocate memory. So by freeing memory in your program, you make more available for the use later. Now let us have a look at another method to allocate memory using dynamic memory allocation. The calloc function essentially stands for contiguous allocation. This function is used to allocate multiple blocks of memory. It is a dynamic memory allocation function which is used to allocate the memory to complex data structures such as arrays or structures. Now you might ask, what is the key difference between a malloc function and a calloc function? The malloc function is used to allocate a single block of memory space, while the calloc function is used to allocate multiple blocks of memory space. Each block allocated by the calloc function is of the same size. Another difference is that the calloc function initially initializes all bytes to 0, whereas the malloc function does not initialize and may have garbage value associated with it. Now let us take a look at an example program. So here we have initialized the pointer variable and the sum to be 0 and also n. Then we ask the user to enter the number of elements and save it in n. Now here we use the calloc function to allocate memory to the pointer variable. Here you can notice that it says between the parentheses n comma size of int. So n represents the number of memory blocks of the same size of the size of int. So this size is represented in the number of memory blocks. Usually the calloc function is preferred more than the malloc function, since the calloc function is generally more suitable and efficient than the that of malloc function. While both the functions are used to allocate memory space, calloc can allocate multiple blocks at a single time. You don't have to request for a memory block every now and then. And the calloc function is used in complex data structures which require larger memory space. Now let us look about the realloc function. Using the realloc function, you can add more memory size to the already allocated memory, or you can expand the current block while leaving the original content as it is. Realloc essentially stands for reallocation of memory. Realloc can also be used to reduce the size of the previously allocated memory. This is an example for the reallocation function. So what we have done here is we have initialized a character pointer variable and we have allocated memory using the malloc function. So once this is done, we have copied the string programming to this pointer, and now we print the pointer along with its address. Now we are planning to reallocate it with a new size of 20. So what we do is we use the realloc function, point the variable and point its new size, and a new size will be allocated. So after executing the function, the pointer will be returned to the first byte of the memory block, and the new size can be larger or smaller than that of the previous memory. This function will copy all the previous data in the new region which has been currently allocated. It makes sure that the data will remain safe. Now looking at the output, you can notice that the address remains the same, but the size of this has been increased by 10. With this, we have come to the end of the seminar session. Please pause the video to look at the summary and go through it. I hope this seminar helped you gain some knowledge. Thank you.